Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated.
You couldn't hear that?
Nerd
Not at all.
used to be just
Really?
a made-up word. MCs tried to wake up.
Okay, now I heard it.
You know what I'm doing?
You know what that is?
I know what that is, but it was so quiet.
You're quiet. I got nothing. I got nothing on that.
We are so tired.
We are so tired and old. Let's tell you why we're so tired and old. He's got a kid in football. I
Mhm.
got two that are in football. Had a friend ask, but you got daughters. Yeah, jackass. Girls can play too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine aren't playing, they're cheerleading. Yeah. But if y'all couldn't tell, that was Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we are two 30 to 40 something year olds where we talk about pretty much whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And if you guys would like to hang out with us slightly in person, join the Discord in the links down below. They're down in the below in the show notes. Discord's free. It is where we gather all of our nerdy friends together to discuss pretty much whatever we want, kind of like we do on the show.
Mhm.
There's categories for almost anything that you can think of. So we have categories for video
Legos.
games, Legos, beer, ball sports, fantasy football. Like any little thing that you nerd out about, there's probably a spot to talk about it and people to talk about it with. So check that out. Also, it's free. I think I said
It's
that.
free.
I'm saying it again. Discord's free. And if you want to hang out with us live and actually in person, every Friday and Saturday night, we play video games together live on the Twitch. Chris over there streams under Guyver Unit 01. It's GUYBERUNT 01. Mine's shorter and simpler and sweeter. It's KSIG, K_SIG. We stream every Friday and Saturday night. And this month, we've got a focus, which is kind of our focus most of the time anyway.
Is it a Ford?
It's-
Ford Focus?
No.
Oh,
But-
it's not a Focus.
The theme we're going to try to stick with this month when we're playing together, and probably if we do anything individually. My fan turned. Get back, fan. Is
Ball fan.
angle is what season are we coming into right now? Like what's coming up? Pumpkin
Thanksgiving?
spice and leaves are changing.
The Return of Saruman.
And yeah, no, maybe.
Oh,
But
oh.
it's spooky season.
Spooky.
Spooky.
Susan.
Susan. So our focus over the next few weeks, not only just streaming, but also for this show is going to be all things spooky and Halloween related that goes and ties into nerdy things as well. Because there's a lot of horror nerds out there. Horror.
Not whore nerds. Well, I mean, there
Well,
could be some
yeah.
whore nerds.
But
Which we're not here to whore shame you.
enunciation is vital during this time of year. But we're going to talk about a lot of things that it's going to be a lot of pop culture stuff. There's going to be a lot of just things that people like really get into. We've kind of got a list. We've got a topic we're going to cover today, but we want to talk about what we're going to talk about, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're going to get ahead of it a little bit. And so I got to get a drink of water. I'm already getting parched.
He's so parched.
Mm-hmm.
He's so parched.
But we've got a list of things here. We're going to go through them really quick. Just let you guys know what the programming, little programming notes, little programming, whatever.
It's not going to be all these. This is what we're. So there's 5 weeks actually this October,
Mhm.
which is good and bad for us.
Yep.
Which means we have to do 5 episodes on spoopy stuff.
All the spoopy stuff.
But the last episode will fall on Halloween Day, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool. So go on, sir.
So what we've got, what we're thinking about right now, this a term. I can't believe I didn't know this term. You had to explain it to me.
Mhm.
I know the idea. I just didn't know the term.
You didn't know the idea.
Oh, but we may be able to get to all these. We may not. Just some things we're kicking around. So be looking for at least some of this stuff coming up in the next month. Final girls and why we're obsessed with them. Why we is obsessed a good word to use?
No,
in
obsessed
this?
is 100% a good word. And
All right. So Chris is obsessed with Final Girls,
mm-hmm,
not to be confused with Mean Girls.
no, well, I am kinda obsessed with Mean Girls.
He is
also.
obsessed with Mean Girls, though. That's a whole other thing, a whole nother rabbit hole we'll have to go down. But Final Girls, the concept of the Final Girls, the last female alive. Are there final boys?
And
Final-
that's
final
kind of my
men?
problem. There's kind of not really. There is, but there isn't. There
It's
isn't
almost always
like,
the lady.
yeah, it's always
right?
the lady, and they don't call them final boys.
No, they get lost.
Yeah, well, they're lost boys, and then some dude named Peter picks them
I
up
didn't
and
think about
shows
those
them it's
lost
his
boys. The other
pan.
lost boys.
He's like, "Hey, come play my panpipe."
No, it's spooky season. We got to talk about
I've
like
been
vampire
tricked
lost
before.
boys.
Well, that was frightening for me.
Okay, well, I know you're scarred. But Final Girls, so the last female alive in a horror, in a scary movie situation.
Horror,
I may have to go that
rural.
rural. And so they're obsessed over, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
There's this
Well, and there's
Just-
really famous final girls too.
and the famous. So we may want to kick around and do like a whole episode of our favorites and ones that have become famous just from that.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do the Final Girls and the Scream Queens,
Yeah.
which are I think they're not all one and the same because some of them have died.
No, a lot
Mhm.
of scream queen. The reason that they're scream queens is because, and we'll go over this if we do that episode.
Yeah, I
It's
think we
because
should.
they scream blood crawling screams in the movies or the shows.
Yeah, so some of them have lived, and
some-
Jamie
some
Lee
have.
Curtis, but so that could be a cool little combo. What's our next one, Chris? That we're going
Next
we
one,
may
which
cover.
I'm really excited if we do this one, is Robert Englund's career. Robert Englund, who is also known as the horribly scarred and burned individual with knives in his fingers, Scary Terry. It's your worst nightmare, bitch. That's right. He was Scary Terry, wasn't he?
Did he
Scary Terry.
did he voice Scary Terry? I don't even know that.
I don't think he did Scary Terry. No, he's
That would have been
Freddy
great.
Krueger.
He was
Well, here, you look it up. Robert Englund, best known as Freddy Krueger,
Mhm.
also now known as an amazing director and producer, does a shit ton of B-rated movies. But they're great. I can't get enough of them. I
Jess
love
Harnell
Robert
was
Englund.
Scary Terry.
Oh, it's Jess Harnell,
Yeah.
aka the voice of Wacko Warner.
Oh, it is?
I believe so. If that's who I'm talking about. And he
Hello,
also did
nurse. Okay. No, that wasn't Wacko. That was Wacko. Yeah, they all said it.
Yeah, they all said it. Wacko was also the one who said, can I call you Dadu?
Was it were they all in on the fingerprints joke?
Yes.
I don't.
That's
think so.
another episode we need to do, is like
Animaniacs. Oh, the innuendo in
Animaniacs.
children's cartoons. Yes, there's we could kill a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
But Robert
the career of
Englund's
Robert
career.
Englund. Yeah.
So this could be really cool. Here's one that we wanted to do last year, and this one is still up in the air because it's going to take some help.
Yep.
And if we can, we've been struggling to find the right person to help out with this, and that is the psychology of the scare. Why do we like horror movies? Why do we like it? And the simple answer is we like the adrenaline rush, right? Like, boom, show's over. But there's more to it than that.
I want to know this, like the science.
The science, yeah, not the secret, the science of the scare. That's what I meant. And so there's more to it than just we like the adrenaline rush. And there's different types of scares that happen. I mean, we have jump scares. We have the slow building psychological scares and things, or slow building like thriller type scares, and the psychological scares, and then
Paranormal scares.
and like all these things. So we've been trying to find somebody that has some background, either in like psychology or
Research scientist.
research, anything that knows on that. So if we find somebody that would help us better explain than just me and Chris, I'm like, ooh, spooky, then we'll definitely line that one up because we've been wanting to do that for like a year now.
Yeah, and if you all know anyone, let us know.
You
Like,
tell
we
two
would-
friends, they'll tell two friends. Eventually, we'll get somebody.
Yeah,
Might be spooky season next year.
Yeah.
But
you know what? We'll get it. That's one I really, really want to do because I think that would be a great episode.
mhm.
Next, cult classic Halloween movies. There is so many cult classic Halloween movies. We wouldn't be able to get through all of them except literally sitting there reading it. And
Yeah,
I'm
just-
pretty sure you all wouldn't want us to do that.
Mm-mm.
So we would take like one or two and just discuss it, like, one or two a year around
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah, we'll do that. I mean, we can talk about like some of the Blumhouse movies and some of the which some of those are some of the best ones. Like, and they're like B horror movies. Okay, so you have your cult classic and you have your B horror movies.
Isn't his
And
name like Steve Blum?
I'm not sure. The guy that produces all those
Yeah,
or the
it's his studio.
his studio. Yeah, and I think they have different producers and stuff. Like there's been some not Night of the Living Dead, but some of the zombie genre movies that were like involved in all that have come out of that studio that were pretty decent. I think Diary of the Dead came out of that.
Founded by
something similar.
Jason Blum and Amy Israel.
Yeah, I think Diary of the Dead came out of that, or it was packaged with some of those movies when they went on retail sale, and that's like an amazing zombie movie.
Paranormal Activity, Insidious, The Purge, Split, Get Out, Happy Death Day, which I like that one. Halloween, Us, and The Invisible Man. They've done a lot. They've have like 80 movies under their belt.
Yeah, and these are the ones. Okay, all right. I'm going to talk about it a little bit real quick. We'll do it more in the episode itself, but I do like the AAA studio horror movies to an extent. Some of them, if they're part of a franchise or different things, are really well done. Checking some more of my notes here, but there's something about that low budget horror movie feel when they're done well that is so good.
100% there is.
And I think, because some of our favorite movies are cult classic movies that were done on a low budget that still stand the test of time of being extremely watchable, like, Evil Dead is one of the very first ones that comes to mind. Blair Witch Project, which still scares the crap out of me.
I remember watching that in the theater.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of these movies that were low budget were really good movies. We can fight over Blair Witch Project. I know somebody's gonna be like, it was terrible.
I loved at the time. It was revolutionary. It was the first found footage movie.
Yep.
Well, considered, arguably. Well, yeah, now that I'm thinking, because that could be the the cannibal movie. That was considered the first, but okay, go on.
Yeah. So we'll get on to those. This next one is one that, and I'm a terrible nerd because I still haven't watched this movie. I may watch this tonight if I can get everything done.
Well, no, don't watch it yet because we're talking about doing that as a community night. Remember?
Oh, okay. So Rocky Horror Picture Show. Horror.
Mm-hmm. Great movie. We watch it once a year before Halloween. It is such a cult classic, and it's built such a strong following, as well as it is so much fun to go to a watch show for that because everyone dresses up and just has a good time.
Yeah.
And Chof already called being Rocky in his little gold Speedo. Chof.
Well, fine.
Well, you can be Rocky too. You can fight each other.
All right. Which we just play Eye of the Tiger. I'm like, this isn't the right thing.
No, this is wrong.
What we got next
I would
on the
pay to
list?
see that. What's next? Werewolf.
Werewolf.
Werewolf?
Werewolf. Still one of my
Werewolf.
favorite freaking jokes of all time.
Yep.
In
Yep.
any movie.
Mystery
remember the
Science
movie?
Theater, baby.
No, that wasn't Mystery Science Theater.
They did in that too. Werewolf,
they?
the wolf.
Well, they didn't get it from there.
Where'd they get it from?
That's from Young Frankenstein.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein.
Super-duper. Oh, that's one we need to do.
We could really just do that one like next week if we wanted to.
Yeah,
That's
put
one of
that on the list.
my favorite movies. So yeah, this when they were in the wagon and
That's
then you hear the
right.
howl and they're like werewolf and they're like werewolf, there, wolf.
It's
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, damn you.
So werewolves, we could do werewolves and vampires if we want to, but there's a reason that we're looking at werewolves because one of the core things of this show that we cover a lot is Marvel stuff.
Yep. And Werewolf by Night starts next week.
Yep. So talk a little bit about that really quick. Not too much, so we can save some for the show because we don't want to burn all our content,
basically,
but-
Werewolf by Night is Marvel's venture into the horror universe because they have Dracula. Like Dracula's under the Marvel wing. Frankenstein, all those Universal monsters. Werewolf by Night he's a werewolf, and this is back when they did Marvel Comics Presents. They had Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, all the things that go bump in the night.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like, so Werewolf by Night's supposed to be the first. It's, if you look at what Disney Plus classified it as, it's under horror.
Nice. Good.
So,
well, I'm glad that Disney had to make the changes. You know, I mean, they're being proactive with some changes in their, like what they're going to allow to be shown on Disney Plus, which is almost anything now.
Yep.
And that allowed for this to happen. It's going to allow for Deadpool to happen. A lot of their back catalog and some of their, you know, like we did that whole episode about Disney and their other studios.
Yep.
That didn't release movies under the Disney banner, but that did all of their like R-rated and.
Okay, so if you all don't know what the hell we're talking about, we haven't released it yet. It's a filler episode.
I thought we did.
No, we never released it. It's still
God, it's so old too now. It's like almost a year old. We recorded it last November.
But we're still gonna release it at some point when Kyle and I can't record.
Yeah, we've threatened to many a time.
And so it's gonna be bad, but
yeah,
you guys got to deal
with it. Sound quality wasn't great, but, you know, whatever. It's out there, I think, somewhere. It's just lingering.
It is.
It's a lingerer.
Okay, so and which brings us into our next thing.
Spooky
Marvel.
Spooky
Aspects of Marvel.
They've been setting up for that.
Yep. And so we'll talk about past, present, and future. So I think that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, when we think of, like, they're already showing some of the hints of spookiness. So we've seen Moon Knight, which falls into that. We know Blade is coming.
We know, right? Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns. And so hopefully we
Doctor Strange too.
Yep. We're going to dive into some more paranormal type stuff because you're seeing Marvel sectioning things out now. Like you get the big intergalactic, cosmic, interdimensional baddies. We've got the ground level stuff that's being set up for more of your like almost like real life crime kind of things. Especially like Secret Invasion looks real like crime drama type stuff. But then, you know, so they're starting to segment off. And I'm excited about the paranormal spooky superhero stuff.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So we've got Spooky Marvel coming, Scream Queens, we kind of already talked about. Young Frankenstein. I want to do an episode over that. I want to do some digging and find some trivia because that is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, hands down.
Super duper.
Probably. The horse neighs every time they say her name. So, yeah, that's kind of what we've got lined up. Coming for you guys. About. Yeah, in the next couple of weeks, some stuff that we're kicking around the ideas. We don't know for sure which ones of those we'll do, but it'll definitely pull from that and maybe some other things. But you'll at least catch a couple of those coming up soon. So let's get in. Listener of the week. Ooh, listener of the week. Who's our listener of the week?
Listener of the week for this week is Shantae.
Shantae! Yay!
Shantae! It's gonna be like a year before she listens to this episode because
That's
she
fine.
just
She'll be
started listening.
She'll be excited though.
She
when
will
gets
be.
to this. Hey, future
Um,
Shantae.
Thank you,
Ta-da.
Shantae. Shantae is kind of she's kind of the community goodwill ambassador for us.
Until you make her mad.
Until you make her mad, then you're a bish.
Yeah, and then she get all up in your business.
Yep, in your business. But yeah, so Shantae, thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of our community. We really appreciate you.
We do a lot. All you guys.
Oh,
We love you all equally, except for Shantae. We love you more this week.
Yep, we love you a lot more. You don't have to fight for our affection like Chof does.
Yeah, fight for our affection, Chove.
All right,
Love us.
Love us. Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is synonymous with
Bad luck.
Bad Luck and Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees.
Jason is our classic serial slasher killer.
Man person.
Who's basically immortal, I guess you could say. Going down towards later films. Jason is is best known for his trademark hockey mask.
Yeah.
I guess with cuts in it now. And just being this giant unstoppable killer. We're going to kind of dive in a little bit into the history of it and the many associated, I guess you could say, acts with it. Acts, A-X-E. Just like
he had a machete. So
he had a machete. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about Jason today.
Yep.
Why don't you start it off? Because I'm drinking a lot of tea and I got to go pee.
You gotta go pee.
Yep.
So just the basic wrap
right
up
back.
of it is, I mean, it's been around forever. It's American horror franchise, 12 total films. It came out, started in 1980. Was our first Friday the 13th movie. So the early 80s, for you guys that don't know, was like prime time for slasher horror movies. We had Friday the 13th, we had Halloween, we had Nightmare on Elm Street. We had it was just such a great time for horror movies and spooky movies, and like visual effects were just starting to come along really well. We had the things from the 70s, you know, like I think there were more like spooky spiritual based horror type things like possessions and stuff like that. But the slasher films really came to their own in the 80s. And so in 1980, we got the very first Friday the 13th movie. And like I said, there were 12 entries into the entire series. Some not as good as the others. And I will admit that I haven't seen all of them. I've seen a few, and I've seen bits and pieces of the others. But the basis of it is, and what, like, it's that fun trivia that everybody wants to try to get somebody on. Like, oh, who was the killer in Friday the 13th? And everybody's like, Jason Voorhees, which he was not. If we're saying Friday the 13th, which I would think would signify the original movie, it was not Jason. It was Jason's mom. And we recently I say recently, in the last year or so, we really kind of got into some Friday the 13th stuff because we started playing Friday the 13th, the game, which was what I have for my background right now. And if you are a lover of all things Friday the 13th, that game is chock full of Easter eggs and stuff, which we'll get into later. But it was like your typical, at least the first Friday the 13th was your like stereotypical sleepaway camp, somebody's getting murdered kind of thing. And the killer, which was a cool little spin on this, was the mother, Mrs. Voorhees, who was the camp cook, played by Ari Lehman. The whole series is created by Victor Miller, had contributions from Ron Kurtz, Sean Cunningham.
Ari Lehman was the original Jason, not the Pamela.
Or original Jason, sorry. And then Tom Savini, which that name sticks around through the series quite a bit. He was originally not intended to carry the series as the main antagonist. In his original appearance, he was scripted as a mentally disabled young boy, and since Friday the 13th, Jason has been depicted as nonverbal, indestructible, machete-wielding mass murderer. You don't hear
Wait.
Jason talk.
No. Later on in this movies, you'll hear like grunts and stuff, but you
Yeah.
don't actually hear him talk.
No.
So he's not like those chatty killers like you see in other slasher films.
Mhm.
Like, what's your plan? Before you kill me, what's your plan? No, Jason's
This is
just
why, like, nope, I'm just gonna kill you.
Yep.
This
Just because I want to. This just did. You're dead.
yeah. As we get into later movies, because that's what everybody seems to be, more familiar with is the vision of him, and just this mountain of a man wearing a hockey mask, wielding a machete. It's frightening. Like there's that you get that whole feeling of the unknown because you can't see his eyes really, and you kind of can in a couple of those, but a lot of them they've done a really good job of blacking out the eyes, in some of the later ones. So it's just this faceless, like the mask is there, but there's just nothing behind it.
Yeah. So you brought this up. Let's talk about this real quick too.
Okay.
Tom Savini. If you remember in Evil Dead, that was one of the costumes was Savini Ash.
Yep.
Tom Savini is very famous.
Known for
Very,
so
very famous
many
in the
movies.
industry. He's known for makeup and special effects mostly, for his work with George A. Romero.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. He did Creep Show and Monkey Shines and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And then the Friday the 13th he did were I think it was 1 and 4. Yeah, 1 and 4. He's the one who kind of, to me, standardized the Jason mask, like on the way that we know it now. The guy is just, he's kind of a horror god because this is before the computer effects. This is before everything was in. He did the practical. Is that what they call it? Practical
effects, yeah. And that's what I'm a huge fan of is just practical effects. We talked about when we did the Evil Dead episode, how they did a lot of their effects were like all the blood was like Caro syrup and food coloring because it was the right consistency and it stuck really well and it showed up really good on camera. And it wasn't visual effects. It wasn't computer generated things because they didn't have them. They had a small budget, so they used real stuff to make it look as real as possible. Even down to some of the props and things like that. Like it was real things happening. And me personally, I like that a lot better
because it just, I don't know. It to me, it kind of just goes along with the cheesy slasher gore that you're there for. And don't get me wrong, I love the computer generated effects too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We're Kyle and I are techies, we like that kind of stuff, but
yeah,
there's just something about those practical effects that just draws you into the movie.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And like I said, Tom Savini is just, he's kind of a god in the industry.
So, going back him. Yeah, going back to the whole him not speaking, there was, like you said, there were some grunts and a few things. And I guess if you really want to be technical about it, I think it was there's a scene in Jason Takes Manhattan where you have a flashback to young Jason and he's, crying out, "Mommy, please don't let me drown." So technically Jason spoke then and you got some grunts. Jason goes to hell. He possesses some other people, so he's like speaks to them, but he really doesn't.
Jason doesn't talk.
Doesn't really have a whole lot to say. There to chew bubble gum and chop people up, and he's all out of bubble gum.
That's such a great movie too. That would be on the list for cult classics. So Jason is considered like, after so many films, the invincible killer. They consider him basically like a great white shark. You can't really kill it. You just hope to get away from it and survive. That's it. Like if you get caught by Jason, you're gone. Because the earlier films, he was just basically just this mentally disabled guy who grew up, but then he became like, in essence, immortal.
Yeah.
Throughout the series.
But like part 6, Jason Lives, is where they kind of decided to really hang their hat on that he's indestructible kind of thing. And so like he was tough before, but then they decided to make that's canon. Like he can't die.
Yep.
And they wrote it off really well in the previous ones of where he almost died or he should have died, because they always did, oh, now he's back. And you're like, well, yeah, we're just gonna make him where he can't die. That makes that a lot easier. So he's always lurking, always hanging out. One thing that's kind of cool about these movies is occasionally you get some really cool throwbacks. I mean, it's the 80s to early 90s. When was the last one released?
2000, I think.
2000. Here we go. 2009.
2009.
Oh, 2009. Friday the 13th. Yep.
That was the remake. That was the one with Willow Ford in it. Remember her song "I Want to Be Bad"? Willow Ford.
Yeah,
she was in that.
So we had 2009 was the remake of the original run. We had, I think, the last real big one. We had Freddy versus Jason in 2003.
Which that wasn't.
Let's just run through the timeline, because they were kicking out movies fast because these were making money. This was,
and we'll talk about the Freddy versus Jason too, because there's mixed thoughts in that camp.
Yeah. So this was the thing in the 80s, early 90s. If something makes a lot of money as a movie, you make 12 of them.
Really fast.
Really fast. I mean, the turnaround and the release time for some of these it was just ridiculously quick. So May 1980, we had Friday the 13th, the original.
And you got to think about this in the timeline that they're kicking these out. This wasn't the computer generated effects again.
No, they're doing it all
practical,
and they're just really kicking them out quick. We had May of 81, Friday 13th Part 2. Part 3 came out in August of 82. Final chapter, quote unquote.
They took a year off.
They took a year off in 84. Okay, well, there's the final chapter. 85. Oh nope, a new beginning. Time for another one. 86 was Part 6, Jason Lives. 88 was Part 7, The New Blood. 89, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Which actually I liked. Manhattan.
93, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. And then we had a little hiatus. Okay, Jason's Goes to Hell, we're done. 2002, Jason X. This is one that I still haven't watched, and I remember wanting to watch as soon as it came out because I just remember the look of his mask.
Upgraded Jason. Techno Jason.
It's a Space Jason, wasn't it?
Yeah. He got upgraded.
Yep.
Space Jason. I believe that was a line from the movie, too. Jason got an upgrade.
Yeah. Like this was probably, that may have been the end of the, I don't know. Well, we have Freddy versus Jason in 03, then Friday the 13th in 09.
So Jason X it's widely considered one of the worst ones of the series.
Well, wouldn't
people
have kind of
hated it.
Been the end of the era of having that type of voiceover in the trailer? You know, that voice.
Oh yeah, the guy.
Got an upgrade.
Jason got an upgrade.
Yeah, because you don't hear that anymore. Even in the horror movies and stuff, like those old movie trailers, I love them. I love them.
In a time where my pants were off.
One man. One
Two
El
balls.
Camino. Yeah. 3
and
goats.
A popped-up collared shirt.
And a one-way ticket to Tijuana. Yeah.
Starring in Chof's current life.
We're
picking up Chof because he doesn't feel good, so we're hoping this makes him feel better.
Take that, Chof.
Take that, Chof.
So bring those voiceovers back. For one, bring that guy. He may be dead, but
he may be dead, but you can find someone.
If somebody can do it, because everybody does it. Get Props to do it. He does it really good.
Oh yeah, Props does do it.
But like, I want those again. Like, there's something about, and this is nostalgia. And I'm going to veer off here for just a second, but we're talking about our childhood horror movies that we probably should have never have watched when we were young, because I wasn't even born when the first 3 came out. So
Serpent in the Rainbow.
Huh?
Serpent in the Rainbow. That one was frightening.
But like, there's just something about that, and it's nostalgia. It feels good. There's something about seeing movies from that era, and like I've just killed I don't know how much time sitting down and watching old movie trailers with that type of voice because it feels good. It brings you back to that time. I know I fell asleep to watching an 8-hour looped video of commercials from 1992 that would come on late at night because I was having trouble sleeping. I'm like, maybe this will put me to sleep. I'm just like, and I'm out until that damn Enya song or whatever comes on from the hits of
Sail
the.
away, sail away, sail
Yeah.
away,
Why is that song so loud in those commercials?
sail away, sail away, sail away.
Yeah.
Orinoco Flow.
Yep. That one. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that one song was super loud in all those commercials, but I don't know. Maybe
But
that's
yeah.
why these movies still have staying power too for like our generation and a little bit older. Because I mean, nostalgia is a powerful tool.
Yep.
And when wielded incorrectly, as we're seeing with some remakes, you get a lot of backlash.
Mm-hmm.
People are very defensive of their nostalgia. People love, and I think that's a different type of fanboyism. There is, I don't know. We're seeing it a lot now with some other movies and stuff, but like with these movies, with the horror movies, there's so much stuff that could be redone, but you have to do them right. And
Because, like you said, it's the nostalgia factor.
it's the nostalgia factor for these.
Well, and then if you look at this, these weren't great movies.
No, not at all.
They were not well written.
No.
But
they're
it's
amazing.
the nostalgia, and they're amazing, and because it takes us back to
A simpler time.
a simpler time. It took us to the time before the crystal crack.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I remember those special times. You know who else remembers? Pepperidge Farms.
Pepperidge Farms.
Pepperidge Farms.
And Simple Rick.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who else remembers? Chassis.
Oh, chassis for your balls.
Or your balls.
Man powder.
Man powder. But yeah,
And lady powder. But
Jason X was not in the nostalgia. Well, I guess it would be. That's 20 years old this year. Isn't that nuts?
oh my God. Yes, that means Friday the 3rd. Okay, what this will be, we just passed the 40-year anniversary of part 3.
Isn't that nuts?
The original's been out for 42 years now. Holy crap, I feel old.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's talk about something a little bit different with Friday the 13th. But you want to talk Freddy versus Jason, the movie? Let's talk Freddy versus Jason, the character, really quick. So, Freddy Krueger, how many people have played Freddy?
1. 2.
2. How many people have played Jason? We got to count them. 1, 2, 3.
I think I put that on a list, didn't I?
7, 8, 9. 9 Jasonses. Jasonsies.
Jason's. Is it 1, 2, 3? Yeah. And then one guy is
Kane Hodder played him in 2 movies. So we had a different Jason in the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no, Kane Hodder played him in 7, 8, Manhattan Goes to Hell, and X. He's the one who's Kane's the one who's widely considered basically Jason.
The Jason. Well, he was Jason more than any of the other Jasons were Jason.
That's why.
Yeah. And he's once you look at his picture, you recognize him. And that's what's crazy.
He's got the build.
Yeah. Which these guys, Kane Hodder, Robert, you recognize them out of character, which is pretty cool because of all the amount of makeup and all that. But yeah, Hodder played him that many times. That we had Freddy versus Jason. We had Ken Kersinger, and then Derek Mears in the 2009.
And don't forget what we said before. Ari Lehman, not killer hockey mask Jason.
No.
He played the young boy Jason.
Still counts.
But it counts. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so Kane's considered.
Let's look here.
So, and then Robert Englund, Freddy, and then who was the second one? It was Rorschach, guy who played Rorschach. What's his name? In the remake.
don't remember. I'm looking here. Actually, I kind of got an Ari Lehman thing because I was curious to see what like he does now. And like he's a composer and does metal, like music.
Really?
Yeah, like he's done some work in some movies. Not a lot. He's got a lot of. Trying to see if there's anything. It's mostly
Jackie Earl Haley. That's the other guy who played
he did. I need to find this movie.
Rorschach.
I'm on this. I'm on this Ari Lehman kick now. Thanks. As I'm scrolling down, I'm
You're
looking at the
welcome.
names of the movies that he's done.
Is it nuts?
Friday the 13th wasn't his first one. He was in Manny's Orphans before that. But the names of these movies. Okay, so we got Okay, so young, got a little bit older, got into doing some actual movie things. Cheerleader Camp, To the Death. He was in Crystal Lake, the short, Pi Day, Die Day, and Pi is P-I. So this is probably like March 14th. Everybody dies. We got Camp Killer, Terror Tales, Rock, Paper, Scissors. As Jason? What? Hold on. Oh, he's in the Leaf Blower Massacre too. That's cool. I didn't know there was even a first one. Easter Holocaust.
And now you know, folks, why we have show notes again.
He's
We go through these
played
damn holes.
a reoccur. Hold on. We may not need to go down this rabbit hole. He has a reoccurring role as a character named Sean Voorhees.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but so these are 1, 2, 3 movies that came out over the course of 2 years. I'm probably going to use the term movies loosely here. These are 3 filmed. He was in 2021. He was in Slutty the Clown. Also in Carnal Monsters.
He was in what?
Slutty the Clown.
That's like everything.
Wait.
That is wrong with my fears.
Don't get ahead of me. 2021, also as Sean Voorhees, he was in Carnal Monsters. 2022, Grindsploitation 10, Milking It. So that was hard to get out without laughing. He's also in Clown Motel. I don't see any more roles as Sean Voorhees, but yeah, there's that.
Now let's go back to Milking It.
Let's not.
No, let's go back to
in the words
Milking
of
It.
props. Let's not.
No, I think we have to.
I don't want to click on it. I don't want that in my algorithm. He's got a
Oh,
sweet
I think you
mustache,
do.
though. Nope.
I think you do. Gonna meet you.
Which one was it? Slutty the Clown?
Buddy the Clown.
Yeah,
You're looking that up now, aren't you?
Yeah, well, that's in my algorithm now.
What, like that wasn't before?
Is a story of 2 urban explorers who decide to camp at an old brick factory for the weekend. But unknown to them, they have entered the lair of Slutty, a psychotic, sex-crazed clown who tortures and humiliates people for fun. I'm good. I'm probably good. Oh yeah, this looks like it was shot in Russia on a freaking Motorola Razr. Not the new one, the old flip one.
Oh, okay, not the good one.
Not the good one. The used to be good one. Yeah, I'm good here. We're not watching that.
And for the next EGTN community night, Slutty the Clown. Please welcome to the stage.
Everyone, please welcome to the stage, Slutty.
I think I'm good there. Nope, we're good. We're also not doing Grindsploitation. I'm scared to see what Carnal Monsters is. Maybe that's him using the name Sean Voorhees. Is he actually playing? Nope, he's playing a character. Stan Lee's in that. What? Oh, archive footage. Okay.
Wait, so is
Carnal?
That's not like his pseudonym, is it? Sean Voorhees? Like
no, well, that's the character's
So it's not
name.
like a porn. Okay, so it's not like
no, it's not what you were thinking. No, I don't think. Maybe.
We don't think.
We don't think. He also plays a character named Jason Death. Okay, he is really milking a Rotomaniac. Nope. Okay, so let's go back to Friday the 13th. Before I totally screw up everything I've ever searched, and now it'll happen to your Steam library too. We learned from people.
Your Facebook is gonna be so fucked up. It's gonna be like clowns, and then like clowns who make like stuff to choke you,
They did with balloon animals.
autoerotic clowns.
No, we're not messing with clowns.
But this shit's gonna be all over your face.
Nope. Let's go on. In Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, this is going to the show description. How Kyle's algorithm got messed up. Oh, instead of how Stiller got our group back,
It's gonna have to be how Kyle
got
gets his algorithm back. Yeah.
And it's just gonna be you. It's just gonna be you searching Bible verses.
Yeah, we're gonna balance it out. I don't know. There's something. Yeah. Now we got all kinds of
Okay,
weird
we're gonna-
Wish ads.
And we're gonna go.
Chosen just for you on Wish. No. No. First off,
I'm
I don't even know how
crying
you
right
put that
now.
on. Second off, I don't know if you're supposed to wear it or pee in it. So,
Or both.
or both, wear it and pee in it. Like,
It's called my chof.
so Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason goes.
Let's talk about that one because there's some tie-ins here.
Yes. So they like to put in, depending on who the director is, they'll put in little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I'll let you discuss this one. I know I put it in there, but why don't you
Yeah.
discuss it because I know how much you like this.
So, director Adam Marcus, director of Jason Goes to Hell, decided to include a copy of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. I nailed that the first time too. I've been stumbling over words all night. Necronomicon, no problem. Cool. So he included the copy of the there we go. Dang it.
Yeah, and you fucked it up. The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon Ex Mortis. So, which is from
Evil Dead.
mm-hmm.
Why the hell did my voice crack? Evil Dead.
It's from the Evil Dead movie. And it's real scary.
I can't watch it past
Oh, it's so
midnight.
cool. We got Jason and we got Evil Dead and Necronomicon. Necronomicon.
You're pretty.
So it was shown in his home, and people take that as a slight little nod that maybe he's actually a Deadite.
Which is why he's invincible, immortal.
Yep, cannot be killed. For those that don't know, a Deadite is a type of demonic being from the Evil Dead series. So, but the director stated that the placement was actually intended to imply that Pamela used it to resurrect Jason after his childhood drowning, resulting in supernatural abilities. This is why Jason isn't Jason. He's Jason plus the Evil Dead. That's what did he say here? Okay, this is his quote. Okay.
That to me.
Yeah. So that to me is way more interesting as a mashup. And Raimi loved it. It's not like I could tell New Line I plan to include the Evil Dead because they don't own the Evil Dead. So it had to be an Easter egg. And I did focus on it. It absolutely is canon. So Raimi was on board for it.
Yeah, Jason's a Deadite.
Jason's a Deadite. I like
Which-
how
I
you
didn't
know what?
know that until I researched this.
and so there's some retconning going on there. There's some stuff. You know what? I absolutely love the balls on Marcus for this because he just took a movie that had been. So this was Jason Goes to Hell. So this was, which one was this?
Or
No, this was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This was number 9. This was the 9th movie. There had already been 8 movies establishing history and canon and stuff. He's like, you know what? You give me the reins. Jason's a Deadite. We're gonna throw some Necronomicon in there. Get Raimi on board with it. And yeah, this is canon now, and you guys can't change it. Ha 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 ha. Like the huevos on that guy to take a beloved series like that and be like, yeah, we're tying in Evil Dead. There's a mashup. It's connected and it's canon.
I like it.
There you go.
I like
There
it.
you go.
So here's some interesting stuff I found out when we were researching it too. Although you would think with a name like Friday the 13th, the marketing would write itself, so they would release it on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
In the words of Kyle, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, makes it seem like the original Friday the 13th was set on Friday the 13th, 1979. June 13th in 1979 was actually on a Wednesday. The original film was most likely set Friday, July 13th of 1979. So, you know, it may not be interesting to you, but fuck you. This is in our show notes. This is what I researched.
Yeah.
The following films were definitely on Friday the 13th, though. So, Jason Lives, The New Blood, and the 2009 film. So we have at least 3 that were definitely on Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
I don't know. To me, if I was the studio, I'd be like, nope, Friday 13th, releasing it on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, they probably just have to go those movie release days. And some other kind of cool myth stuff, because we talked about, you know, that Jason was not the killer in the first one. He also was not the killer in A New Beginning. So, and Harry, if he's listening, he will love this. It hints at Jason being the killer of the movie, but it plays out that it's actually what was his name? Was it Roy Burns? Yeah, Roy Burns. It's a different guy using the mask as a cover, and then we get Jason back in the following movie. Like, I'm looking at this list of things, and if we want to kind of get off on this, we can really quick. 9 times Jason wasn't a villain.
Yeah, go ahead. Where? Wait.
So we got
did I
9
put that
here.
in there?
Nope, I just randomly went down the Google hole, and here's where I landed. So the
Be
first
careful
one,
going down that Google hole.
when he drowning in Crystal Lake, he wasn't a villain then. It his mom. We're also saying, you know, he has foundational motivations. What Screen Rant is saying here, because really at his core, he's carrying out the whims of his mother. These aren't his decisions to do. She's directing him to do these things. The first person that he kills is the camp counselor that killed his mother. Yeah, as his first kill was the camp counselor that killed his mother. So, okay, that kind of works. Killed Charles McCullough, which was a tracks the slimy McCullough down. Yep. Because what did McCullough do? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the guy that was cruel to his niece. Then in the comics, because there's been a lot of comics released, he has some sympathy for Leatherface. Yep.
Okay, I'm with you now.
The mom was the first killer. We hit that. Roy Burns, we just did that. He actively does not kill children. Yeah, so he's got some principles. Murder of children does not happen. Bridge too far. Because there's a scene in which movie was this? Jason Lives, where he was like standing over a little kid. Could have killed him, didn't. Got manipulated by Freddy Krueger in Freddy vs. Jason, and then battling Freddy in Freddy vs. Jason. So we can talk about those a little bit later. So, yeah. He's a bad guy, but he's still a bad guy. He's a very bad guy, but he's not always a bad guy.
So they were saying in
Occasionally less bad guy.
A New Beginning.
Yeah.
That it's so bad, it's hilarious.
Okay, I may have to watch that. Like, yeah.
Every one of those is in the account, by the way.
Yeah, we'll check them out. Put them on the list.
Yeah, so they're saying it's so bad. Flash fact. Who is a reoccurring survivor in Friday the 13th?
Ooh, I don't know. I should know this.
He's in the game.
Oh, is it Tommy? Tommy
Jarvis.
Tommy Jarvis, yeah.
Yep. He's one of the few.
Would he be a final boy?
I guess he kind of would be.
Yep.
I guess he kind of would be.
Jarvis took him down once or twice.
I think twice. I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch these. As you can tell, we didn't brush up on our homework on this one.
No, but we're getting into spooky season. So, the sound. Let's talk about the sound before we run out of stuff, because we have to talk about the sound.
Oh, yeah.
That.
So, Wait, is it because that's what everyone hears, isn't it?
That was or is it which is it?
Is it A or B? We'll give you time to lock in your answer. Kyle,
All right,
which
well, we
one
don't
was
care.
it? Yeah, we don't care.
I know what it is. I know what it's supposed to be, and I know what it sounds like, and it still messes with me.
Yep, me too. It's
So,
actually
was it Polish? Yeah,
Ki and Ma.
yeah. I think it's a
Yep.
distorted. It has to be distorted like that because
It
it doesn't
is. If
sound
you
like.
read what I put in there.
Oh, okay.
The
if
composer.
I'd actually read the notes that Chris worked really hard on.
Yeah. Most people have been doing the for years, including me.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to hear it. It's one of those, once you hear it, that's how you hear it. It's like those, I forget what it's called, but like it's that mass thing where everyone hears it one way, and so it becomes reality, and it's actually not.
Yeah. Or that those little weird little sound things where like, hey, you'll hear this, but now you read this word and you'll hear this, like needle something, and yeah. Like it plays this weird random noise and you're influenced by what you think it could be. So
Yep. So the reason it's Ki and Ma, like you said, it was Polish scores, consonant heavy Polish scores. He was studying at the time. The composer, I think he was the composer.
yeah, it was a composer.
Henry Manfredini.
And Frendini.
He's Frendini.
Manfredini.
He actually reduced the words kill and mommy down to 2 syllables. The reason he did this, it was taken from the original 1980 film in which Pamela Voorhees says kill her mommy in Jason's voice. He just reduced those down and heavily distorted it. Because to him, it stuck out as a creepy shot, and it conveyed the idea that she was hearing voices at all times. So according to this, if you go by this, if this is canon, that's what Jason hears all the time.
Ah.
Is the
That's just all he hears. Kill her, kill her, kill her.
So isn't that nuts?
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of going because I know we're kind of running out a few things here, but we get a lot of stuff from Screen Rant. I'm gonna give them credit for that. And I thought I was finding a knockoff of like movies that were just like bad knockoffs of Friday the 13th. Because one movie, and I want to see if it came out first or not. I think it came out later. That I'm thinking of is Sleepaway Camp. It came out.
Movie.
It came out in '83. Dude, that last scene is so unsettling. Like one of the weirdest, most unsettling scenes in all of horror movies ever.
Yep.
It's one of the terrible movie. One of the most talked about final scenes ever, and it's obviously a direct kind of I might cut out. No, kind of a direct rip off of Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
And so, but if you guys like Friday the 13th, I'm going to give you guys a list here. And this, you get your nostalgia meter ready? You ready for these? Nightmare on Elm Street, we talked about. Alien, the original. Halloween, the original, which came out in '78. Deep Red, I don't know this one, but apparently has buckets of gore. Black Christmas came out in '74. One of the very first slasher
multiple
films.
Remakes of those.
Yeah. We've got Madman in '82. Lost After Dark in '15. These are ranked pretty Deep in the Woods in 2000. The Initiation in '84. I kind of remember that one. Funhouse in '81. I remember that one. Popcorn. Lake Bottom. BODOM. Not like the other ones. Sleepaway Camp '83. God, I may have to watch that again. And let's see here. Oh,
We've
Peter's
actually
acting
skipped
funny.
three things that I put on here too that we need to go over.
Oh, and the burning. Yep. So get those 3 things. So there's some of your nostalgia trips for them.
So there have actually been 6 novels about Friday the 13th. 6 of the 12 films have been adapted into novels. Friday the 13th, 1 through 3, Jason Lives, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason. With Friday the 13th, Part 3, it has been adapted into a novel twice. So if you are a fan of reading and you like horror books, not like Skin House or anything,
Yeah.
check those out. There have been comics on there too. Since New Line Cinema acquired the franchise, several of Friday the 13th comic books have been published by Tops Comics. Tops, the baseball card company, basically.
Yep.
Avatar Press, DC Comics, imprint Wildstorm. I remember reading a couple of those. They're pretty good. I mean, not my favorite. It's not my favorite thing, but it was there.
Mhm.
We're probably gonna have to wrap up here because Kyle's
Yep,
may
I'm having
not
some-
have internet soon.
Well,
But-
it's not internet. I'm having some weird electrical surges, which is weird. I'm worried about everything shutting off and not being able to save.
But we'll finish this up here. Last thing, there was a television show. It
Yep.
ran for 72 episodes. It is not the movie. It was on 1987. I remember watching this and getting highly disappointed because we never saw Jason.
Yeah.
It was two cousins' attempts to recover cursed antiques that were sold from a shop they inherited from their uncle. They wanted it to link to the series originally. But it didn't. Basically, he never intended it to, but they didn't. They just wanted to show Friday the 13th symbolizes bad luck and curses. Is
Yeah.
what it was.
So it's actually about the bad luck of Friday the 13th, not the
killer.
one other thing before we do wrap it up that I want to hit on really fast is the game. So the game was amazing, I think. Still is amazing.
I still like to play it.
If you're a fan of the game or the series, even if you're not much of a gamer,
That's what you should play this month.
is hop in the game and just run around the cabin, which is kind of the lobby. There is hours of content without even getting into the game with all the Easter eggs and things to find and unlock. And like, there's just so much to do in that lobby. I think I spent a really long time unlocking everything. It took me a good couple of hours just to unlock the extra characters and the Easter eggs and the hidden stuff behind it. It's really well done. You know, unfortunately, there was that that legal dispute that with the studio and like kind of why we're not having any more Friday the 13th movies right now over who actually owns the rights to the movies, which resulted in the game being put on hiatus, and they just kind of basically left it alone. And I think there's a modding community that's really keeping it alive right now. So
Yep.
still worth checking out. It's a really good time.
So we'll leave you with this. Get into some spooky movies. Discuss in the chat. Yeah, like that. Get into the chat. Tell us what your favorites are. Tell us
Let us
why. If they're vintage, put it in the vintage chat.
Yeah.
So again, we're gonna have to sign off here pretty quick, just so Kyle can save this episode.
Yeah, we don't want to lose
So we
it.
can publish it. No. So with that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle, and wherever you guys are, have a great evening, great night, whatever time it is, and be spooky to each other. Woo!
See ya.
Nerd Coke, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd Coke, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd core used to be just a made up word. MCs shied away.